Despite the misgivings of family and friends, I traveled to Erbil, capital of the autonomous Kurdistan region in northern Iraq. I was surprised by my first impressions. The airport is new and one of the largest in Asia. Kurdistan is a largely self-contained region within Iraq. In the Kurdistan capital itself, I saw no signs of war damage. The economy is booming. The reason for this trip was to investigate disturbing reports of Christians being persecuted, intimidated, kidnapped and murdered in the land of Abraham. Near Erbil International Airport lies the suburb of Ankara, almost a town in itself, where more than 20,000 Christians have sought refuge. The guards are heavily armed. When I arrived, the Christians were celebrating Pentecost. Most of them were refugees from southern Iraq, Baghdad and Basra, and Mosul, a terrorist stronghold. Nobody wanted to be filmed. We were strangers and they were afraid. Abbot Gabriel is in charge of all the Chaldean Catholic monasteries in Iraq. He also visits refugee families, prays with them, and gives them encouragement.
I'm going to see a family who lived in Mosul for a long time. After the fall of Saddam Hussein, the father was kidnapped by terrorists and the family was blackmailed. When he was released, the family was forced to move to Al-Qash.
Al-Qash is a Christian town, and the residents have to be guarded.
Hello,
62-year-old Joseph Yunis and his family are among them. They had to leave almost everything behind when they left Mosul. Only 3 of Joseph's 9 children are still living in Iraq. The others have fled the country. The kidnapping of their father was traumatizing.
The kidnappers shouted at me, tried to force me into a car. I fought back. They intended to kill me, but one of them said, "Don't kill him. He's useful to us. We've got information about him." Later, they forced me to watch a DVD. It showed a colleague who also worked for the Americans. He was frightened into saying in front of the camera that I'm a Christian and I have relations to the Americans.
He gives like more 25 names and they kill him. They film where they cut his head off, and my father used to close his eyes, and they forced my father to look at them while they were cutting his head off, and the sound of the blood coming out of his body. Then
we talked amongst ourselves for many hours.
When the kidnappers called me, I collapsed. Then I called my brother-in-law's brother and asked him to negotiate with them. I just wasn't able to do it. But he could talk to them better than I could. My brother-in-law's brother came and negotiated with them. Thank God.
So when he came here to Al-Qash, he said Joseph is kidnapped and they demand $20,000 as a ransom. And all of Al-Qash, in a matter of 2 hours, they provided $22,000 in a matter of 2 hours. So my uncle took that money, put it in bags, plastic bags, and he gave it to them in Mosul. There was no such thing in Iraq, nothing. Since I was a kid, I never heard anyone makes me upset about I'm Christian. All that happened after 2003.
Surprisingly, perhaps, Iraqi Christians lived in relative security under Saddam Hussein. The persecutions only began in the power vacuum that followed his ousting. Eder Yunis yearns to live in safety. He had to find work and repair the dilapidated house. And it took the family 3 years to pay back all the borrowed ransom money. The young engineer is frustrated. There's no demand for his qualifications here, and yet he doesn't want to go abroad like his siblings. Iraq is his home. There have been Christians living on the territory that is now Iraq for nearly 2,000 years. Just 3 kilometers from Al-Kosh is the famous Rabban Hormizd monastery, founded in 640 AD. Over the centuries, Christians often sought refuge here from their persecutors. The Chaldean Catholic Church traces its origins back to the Apostle Thomas, and the patriarchs of Al-Kosh have been in communion with Rome since the 17th century. Rabban Hormizd lost access to water in the 19th century, so the monastery of the Virgin Mary was built in the valley below. Today it is headed by Father Gabriel and provides shelter for 200 refugees. The monks gather for prayer at 7 each morning. The liturgical language is Aramaic, the language that Jesus spoke. "20 orphans, boys between the ages of 6 and 18, also live here at the monastery. They come from all over Iraq. They are the victims of war and violence. Their parents are dead and their homes destroyed. The monastery's orphanage provides them with shelter. The girls live with a local community of nuns. 5 years ago, the abbot and his community moved to Al-Kosh from Baghdad. Life in the Iraqi capital had become too dangerous for Christians.
We were standing at the entrance to the monastery when we were shot at by a motorcyclist. The bullets only just missed us. They struck the wall right next to me. Another time, they parked a car in front of the monastery. We realized it was a car bomb and ran away. Shortly afterwards, it exploded.
The solid monastery walls provide protection. In the village, Iraqi soldiers and police keep guard. The Kurdish militia also provides safety, unlike the security forces in Baghdad.
Every year, on the Feast of Corpus Christi, we draw the image of Christ in flowers and other natural elements in the church. This is our subject this year. The Sayyidat al-Najat Church. Terrorists murdered 2 priests and 50 lay people there.
Baghdad, October 31st, 2010. Islamist terrorists attacked the church during a service and took hostages. When Iraqi security forces tried to free them, the terrorists killed their hostages and blew themselves up. The boys in the orphanage are no strangers to violence. Some of them have lost their parents in terrorist attacks. And the children themselves survived a bomb blast.
The boys were traveling by bus to Al-Kosh. Suddenly, a bomb went off right next to the vehicle and it burst into flames. Generally, when a bomb explodes next to a vehicle with 20 children inside, none survive. But the Virgin Mary saved them.
I would like the Christians in Germany to pray for us, to pray that we can live freely and without fear. We need their support in order to see an end to this war. We've already seen too much.
Fear is a constant companion. They can only express their Christian faith behind thick walls, protected by guns. Father Gabriele would like to see the West do more than just pray.
We hoped the West, the Christian world, would protect us, would give us a hand, so that we could stay here. This is our country. Our roots extend deep into the earth. The people of Al-Kosh don't belong to Kurdistan. We belong to Mosul. Nevertheless, the Kurdish government protects us. The peshmerga are here. The Iraqi government does not protect us. If the peshmerga ever withdraw, we're dead.
Who are the peshmerga, the Kurdish militia? Major General Aziz Waisi is in charge of domestic security. For decades, he and his troops fought against Saddam Hussein. Today, they protect the civilian population, including Christians.
Peshmerga literally means those who face death. A Peshmerga fights against suppression and injustice. We security forces protect the Christians who have fled here from the rest of Iraq. And they are supported by the Kurdish government. To solve the problem permanently, the Iraqi constitution must be implemented. It ensures the population's right to decide for themselves where and how they want to live.
And later he told me that it also guarantees freedom of religion. Then we set off for Kirkuk, a dangerous journey. Whenever our guide discussed the route with the armed escort, we weren't permitted to film them. Why were we taking this risk? I wanted to meet the Archbishop, who has the reputation of being the peacemaker among all sides. Somewhat nervous, we were careful not to draw attention to ourselves. This footage was shot with a miniature camera. Below us, huge oil reserves. Baghdad is determined not to relinquish its claim on these rich resources. The residence of the Archbishop of Kirkuk is like a fortress, tucked away behind gates and high walls. Archbishop Sako only recently escaped an assassination attempt. He prefers not to talk about it. He's a staunch apostle of reconciliation and brings opposing political and religious leaders together. The Archbishop's home is neutral territory. In the cathedral, he explained the Chaldean cross.
We have a cross without the body. That means the resurrection, to encourage people. I think the idea with Christianity, everything starts with the resurrection and not with the crucifixion. Christianity is something positive, grace. In Oriental, in the West, is mortification, is suffering. No? A little bit.
The empty cross, hope of redemption. The Archbishop commissioned these images from Muslim artists. In this way, he tries to bring the religions together. I asked him who is behind the violence against Christians.
It is very complicated. There are three groups behind violence. Fundamentalists, they think that the only way to keep Islam is the Islamic State. There is also a kind of mafia, kidnapping Christians, threatening Christians to have their properties, or kidnapping people to get money. And a Christian has, an absolute sense for life. He will pay everything to save the life of a member of the family. And also political. Many attacks are politicized to push Christians to stand with them, with a group against other group, telling from both groups that you will have no salvation without us. And this is the situation.
Does he see a way out of this predicament?
We can have a future when we are negotiating with the political leaders and the religious leaders here and telling them we are Iraqis, we are Lebanese, this is our land even before your arrival, and we want to stay and to share also in the life of our societies and to contribute.
Father Ayad led us through a security gate to the Catholic kindergarten. The Archbishop is convinced dialogue, respect and reconciliation practiced from childhood create a solid foundation for tolerance and trust. Christian and Muslim children playing together and learning together. Ayat is a married priest. As in the Eastern Orthodox churches, the Chaldean Catholic Church allows its lower clergy to marry.
I'm married and have 2 children, a boy and a girl. If we live God's word in our families, it's mirrored in the community.
To be a priest in Iraq takes a lot of courage. Ordination can cost you your life.
This is a new chapel for our martyrs. Here in Kirkuk we have had from 2003 up to now 37 martyrs have been killed. But in the whole country 937. Yeah.
Here the martyrs are named. 500,000 Christians have so far fled the country. Do Christians still see a future in Iraq?
I am very afraid about the future. It's not clear. We don't have any vision because the changes are going on, and sometimes we are surprised. We are not expected such changes.
Then why does he stay?
We are consecrated, So we gave our life to the others. We should not be afraid. We have to give example to the others. I think we should be courageous to persevere, even up to end. To give up our life to the martyrdom. We are ready.
At the end of the day, we took our leave of the Archbishop. The risk of abduction is especially great for foreigners once darkness has fallen. We headed towards Ahmadiyya in northern Iraq to visit Bishop Rabban al-Kaz. This peaceful region was once ravaged by civil war. When the Kurds began fighting for their independence, Saddam Hussein destroyed thousands of their villages. Kurds, Christians, and other minorities suffered most. Bishop Al-Kaz has clear ideas about the future, but first, he says, the war damage must be repaired.
My village, they put many bombs but no person was killed by the bombs. All they were safety, but all the bridge was burned. This church was built in 7th century or 6th century. And this church, they put the bombs, napalm, 10 meters you see. They cut it from the church. And the church stay without these stones. I built in 1993 this wall.
The Kurdish government financed the building of the new church. It also pays the salaries of priests and bishops. Prayer, a church service, a cheerful gathering in the parish hall. But this is a fragile peace. New conflicts can erupt at any time. We drove with the bishop to Duhok in northern Kurdistan. He wanted to show us his pet project, the international school, which is largely his work. Bishop Elkaz is also the principal of the school. He views education as the key to peaceful coexistence.
We have to do together this project through the education, because they can build many houses like you see in our Kurdistan. For me, the importance is to build the mind, to change the society through the education.
Here, girls and boys learn together. Whether they're Kurds, Arabs, or Assyrians. Religious affiliation is unimportant. Before the summer vacation, the pupils are tested in 5 languages: English, French, Arabic, Kurdish, and Aramaic. The language of instruction is English. There's no religious instruction at the school. The bishop views this as the task of religious communities. The international school is one of the best and most modern in the country. Already 3 alumni are studying at a German university. With exams over, it's vacation time.
They are the future of Kurdistan. We transmit what we receive, and they have also to keep this occasion one day also to guide this society and to transmit with what they receive, because they are the future of Kurdistan.
The pupils were eager to talk to us too.
My best friends is Mirna and Fatun, and we're from different religions. I'm Muslim and she's Christian, and Fatun is Izidi, but we're best friends.
I think she's a good friend because she helps me in everything, in studying and even in normal things, everything for something, anything I want from her, she's always standing for me.
We're really very good friends. I love her.
It doesn't matter if I'm Christian or Muslim, it doesn't matter, just like we're Kurdish, we're all Kurdish.
We all want a bright future, and we all want to help our community and society. That's our vision.
I like the pharmacy thing. I want to be a pharmacist, so I can give medical things for people and can help them. She want to be a doctor, the other want to be an engineer, build buildings, and build Kurdistan, it better and better.
I would like to be different. I don't want to be a doctor or an engineer, or I want to be an inventor or a discoverer. I want to be like someone like Albert Einstein, or I don't know, just different.
I lived in war city in Mosul. It was for 4 years. I saw people dying and a lot of bombs there. So we want to live and save. A lot of my relatives dying. So I'm working for them right now. My friends also. We want to work for them. For their source.
Who give the guarantee to keep safety this project is the Constitution and good relation with Baghdad, with other places, with our neighbors. That is important. We need the European people and the Americans to think and to do this.